Alright, what we got here is the Vizio VX42L. I have two of these. I did have one back there with the 37s at. I was watching it. The other morning we had a lightning storm come through and had a really close strike. One of those strikes so close you can literally hear the air ripping apart type strikes. It's like you hear the crack before you ever even hear the thunder. And the lightning proceeded to come in through the cable TV system, got into the cable box, blew the HDMI port up in the cable box, and then proceeded to blow this HDMI port up in the TV that it was connected to, which was one of these. So I no longer have HDMI 2 on that TV, and the HDMI 1, the only other remaining port, because these are only two ports because they're old, they're 10-year-old TVs. The only remaining port, the HDMI 1 port, will only accept signals from non-HDCP devices after the strike. So if I plug the cable box, the new cable box, into that HDMI port, the TV will either produce no signal or it will randomly produce static. You know, that weird scrambled up staticky image you get with HDMI when it doesn't handshake properly. So I checked the new box with the other TV. Works fine. Works fine with the VW 37L back there on the back. And so I proceeded to look around on Craigslist. I found this same matching TV, same month, same year, June 2007, as my other VX42. And guy said it didn't work, but he only wanted $10 for it. So I said, what the hell, I'll take it, and in hopes that the power supply is probably bad and the main board's good. Well, get it home, plug it in. As you can see, our little amber Vizio light is on. And we take the remote. Relays click, Vizio light turns white. And that's all she wrote. No backlights, no picture, no sound, no nothing. And will not respond to any more input. It won't turn back off until I go unplug it from the wall. So the problem with this is a volt regulator is bad. Now I've already had it apart to inspect the regulators, and usually on these VX and VW TVs, the U33 adjustable regulator will go bad. This particular one, I believe I've tracked it down to U7 is bad. It should put out about 1.5 volts, and we're only getting 0.97 volts at the meter. So what we're going to do is, I've already got the parts that came in today from digikey. I went ahead and ordered new replacements, and we're going to see if we can replace it and get this thing back working. The screen's not in terribly too great a shape. It's set in a guy's covered carport, so it's basically exposed to the elements. In the corner, I believe over here, right there at the bottom, it looks like a cat or dog may have pissed on it, and it ran down behind the screen. And it's rusty down where the metal caging is for the screen. So hopefully it didn't run back up inside the panel itself and ruin the panel. If it did, then what I'm going to probably do, if this board is set up for an LG display panel, like my other one has an LG in it, then I'm going to, if all the ports and everything work when we get it back going, I'm going to swap this board into my other TV temporarily until I can get a new board for it. Alright, let's get this thing apart. It's about like 40 or 50 freaking screws I gotta take apart to get this thing to get it apart. So alright, so here's what we're working on again. VX42L, June 2007. My other one's also made June 2007. So technically they should have the same panel on them. Alright, so to get into these, you have all these little screws. Make sure you remember where they go. These black screws are plastic screws. They go in the plastic body on the bottom. There's 6 of them, 3 on each side of the TV. You've got regular metal screws all the way around the entire TV, one end to the other. There's your other 3 black screws that go into the plastic. You have the metal screws here. You have 4 more up here, or 3 more up there, excuse me. When you take the stand off this TV, make sure you have it laid down. If you take the stand screws out with the TV standing up, the TV will fall over onto its face and break the screen. And y'all don't want that. So you'll also need to remove all the screws on here. You can do that after you get the panel off, or the plastic cover off, but you'll need to remove all of the screws back here, including the VGA screws. Some TVs, some of these will have a lock washer on here, or a little screw-on washer. Some won't. So you may have to remove that. You may not. Matter of fact, all the ones I have don't have that, and I have quite a few Vizios. All right, so let me take all these screws out. It takes forever to get all the screws out of this TV, and then we'll get down to business. All right, we got the back off this monster. One thing Vizio did, they put a lot of metal in these. That's why they weigh so much. So we got our side AV port. VW models don't even have that. The VW models were, that's a VW model. They have the black, all black case, and they were mostly sold only at Walmart, I believe, maybe even Sam's Club. I think only Walmart. Slave inverter. If you have sound and all that, but you don't have a picture, it's best to check your inverters, check the capacitors. Usually up in here there's some capacitors on them. I've already checked these, they're good. Matter of fact, these have Rubicon capacitors on them. But a lot of times you'll get capacitors blowed up in here. Change the capacitors to bring your inverter back to life. This TV has two inverters, so this is the slave inverter. And you have your master inverter here. And then you have your power supply. So if you get a TV and it doesn't work, the very first thing you want to do is you want to check these pigtails for power. You want to check your 5 volt for power. 5 volt standby, which should always be on. And then you got your 12 volt. I think there's a 3.3 in here somewhere. And there's 2 inverter power supplies here, 24 volt. Everything's labeled. Just probe it out. Make sure you go to common ground with your negative probe on your meter. Anything like this. If you're checking the hot side of the power supply, then you want to ground yourself to the common ground. This TV's not plugged in, so I can touch this, but otherwise these would be energized, I believe. You can tell by the optocouplers and the transformers. This is the cold side of the power supply. This is the hot side of the power supply. So I have been shocked to hell before by touching one of them on accident while working on a TV. But what we're interested in is up under here. So we got to get all these screws out. So you got to take all these screws out of here. And then you have these screws here. There's a couple on the sides. There's 2 here on this big heat sink. This heat sink is here to dissipate the audio amplifier IC heat. And then back here are some more. Once you get all of them out, you can take this cover off. And then we can get down to the board. Here's that rust I was talking about, where it looks like something peed on the screen. It ran down the front and then leaked out back here. And cat piss and dog piss are pretty good at corroding metal. So I'm thinking that's what that is. I'm just hoping it didn't get up inside the panel. So, alright, let me get the screws off of this, and I'll show you what's underneath. That's our board. We're going to have to take it out of the chassis to do the repair work on it, because this thing is so big you can't get it in here with an iron like I want to. But TV tuner, your HDMI ports, 1 and 2. This port is the one that's dead on my other VX42L. Main microprocessor, your EEPROM, basically your RAM here and here. Let's see, this powers the, I believe, switches go here. This is your LVDS cable, goes up to your timing control board. This is your main power in for the power supply. This is your speaker connectors. This little guy over here on this heatsink underneath this piece of metal is the audio amplifier IC. These TVs have 10 watt per channel speakers. So they put this little audio IC in here to drive them. It's pretty beefy. Alright, so we got our voltmeter out. Not sure where I can lay this where y'all can see it too well, but sit that there. Oh, come here, power cord. Put some power. We already hear the relay click when I plug the power cord in. Those are the relays and the power supply. So I can bring that down. Alright, so let's check our 5-volt fuse. Now the power supply is not on, so the board shouldn't have any power except for the standby power. So let's check our fuse, 5 volts. And on the other side of the fuse, 5 volts. Check our 12-volt fuse, which shouldn't have anything on it at all. Should just be basically just about nothing on both sides. Yeah, basically nothing. Alright, so I'm going to hit the power button. Hear the relay click. So the motherboard tells the power supply to turn on. But that's it. You get to that point and it stops. It never turns the inverters on. Never turns the, nothing else happens, no sound. Of course, nothing makes me do anyway to get sound, but basically that's where it stops. So now we'll check our 12-volt fuse again. We got our 12 volts coming in. 12 volts going out. Check our 7805 regulator over here. Should have 12 volts coming in. Center pin is ground, and then we should have 5 volts coming out. So we have our 5-volt regulation for the board. So now what we'll do, our problem is in here. There's a bunch of little ICs in here that we need to go and check. I wish I could get a better camera. I wish I had a top-down camera angle, but I don't have any way of getting that for y'all, unfortunately. But I'll try my best. Let me reposition the camera and then we'll look at some voltages in this area right here, because this is our problem area, I do believe. Alright, I think this one might be a better angle. But y'all can see these little regulators in here. There's one there, there's one back here. The usual suspect is right here, U33. You have U7. And I believe this one's U9. So what we want to do is check the incoming voltages to these ICs. These are adjustable, or most of these are. These are adjustable ICs. So you have your input voltage, you have your output voltage, and your tab, center tab and tab should have the same voltage. And then on the far end here you have your adjustment tab, which goes through resistors to ground. That's how they adjust the voltage. So we want to look at U8. U8 has 5 volts coming in. .3 coming out. That's what we want. Should have about 2 volts adjustment voltage. Our tab, 3.3 volts. Alright, check U33. U33 has 5 volts coming in. 3.3 volt output. .2 adjustment, and usually that's the one that's bad on most of these boards. And this particular board, I believe this one's bad. U7 is bad. The way these two are wired in circuit is the output voltage of this, of U33, the output voltage 3.3 volts, should feed into this regulator on the input side. So you should have 3.3 here, which we do, 3.3 volts. We should have about 1.5 or so volts coming out of here, according to everything I've read and heard. And we only have 0.97 volts. And basically 21 millivolts, basically ground. I'm not sure this is supposed to be at ground on this particular pin, but we are supposed to have 1.5 volts here, and we don't. Which leads me to believe this regulator is bad. So, I'll unplug the TV, get the power off of it. Let it discharge for a minute, then I'm going to pull this board out of here. So, since I'd already been in here and checked it beforehand, I went ahead and ordered new volt regulators from Digikey. That's the Digikey part number right here, if you want to order some, if you have TV with the same problem. Huge box they sent me. Come out. So they sent me this huge box for 4 of these little guys. I bought 4 just in case more than one's bad. I haven't decided if I want to try and show the solder work on this. This could be a pain in the ass being surface mount. I may even have to go so far as to take this capacitor out to have enough room to get in there and work to get that out. I'm going to try to put new solder on the pins and the tab and try and keep it hot enough, long enough that I could take a small little flathead, jeweler's flathead, and basically just get it to come off, just slide off of there. And then we'll clean the pads up, drop the new one in, and then solder it back in place. And hopefully that will bring this TV back to life. And I hope the HDMI ports work on it, otherwise I'll be a sad panda. Oh. By the way, anybody wants to know, and this probably won't focus that far in, but these are, I think these are AMC or something like that, 1117s. Yeah, but you can get any 1117 AS, which stands for adjustable. Some of them are fixed, like I think A9 might be a fixed one on here on the board. I believe A9 is that one right there on my finger. I believe that's a fixed. But I know U7 and U33 are adjustable regulators. So if it's adjustable, make sure you get a 117 adjustable. If not, you can get non-adjustable ones that are preset for like 1.5, I think 2. Anyway, they're ones that you can get that are adjustable. So you can tell by the labels over here, this TV has been exposed outside water. Labels are rubbled up from me sitting outside the humidity. That's why I hope the screen's not in bad shape. Alright, so I guess we'll start. Get all these cables loose. I've already had all these out once before. Try and get them out without you ripping the wires out of the sockets. Put that out. That's the speaker. All your voltages coming in and out. So this connector will have like your 5 volts in, standby, your 12 volts in. There's a bunch of grounds, and then there are some pins on here that send tell the power supply to turn on, It also tells the inverters to come on, and then there's a dimming, one of them I believe is a dimming circuit that is an adjustable voltage up and down, and as you turn the backlight up and down, or the control for the backlight up and down, it will vary the voltage up and down to tell the inverters to dim the lights or bring the lights back up. So that one off. This one's out of frame. It's just the remote control buttons. This one's the sensitive one. This is the LVDS. You do not want to break this one. I think I used a small screwdriver to get that one out last time without breaking it. There we go. That's your LVDS. It goes all the way back up underneath into the time control board. I may even have to do that. The time control board is behind here. They use that to heat sink it. If you have a, yeah, you just had to do that in the litter box, didn't you? But if you have a messed up looking picture, especially if you've had a TV that's been in storage, sometimes you can disconnect the ribbon cables that go from the panel to the T-con board. Sometimes they get oxidation in them. You gently disconnect them, reconnect them, and that'll clean the oxidation off of them. And usually that'll get your picture back if you have a really weird looking picture. I had a Vizio VX42L I worked on for a friend once, and his had a picture that was all messed up. Now one of my buddies thought that this capacitor right here was bad, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just the end of the tape reel. Matter of fact, they can't pop. They don't even have poppable tops on those. So let's see. I take all these screws out, more and more screws. Oh, plasma TVs, they have a big problem with not tightening the screws down, like in the power supplies and stuff, and it causes the TVs to do stupid stuff. I'm gonna pop this off here. Should just slide off if I remember right. Yep. So many screws, it ain't even funny. Let's see, got that one. Of course, I should be wearing a static strap for this, but it's so freaking humid down here that getting static electricity is difficult. And I have tile floors, so I'm not going to get static from a tile floor. At least I've never had that happen. I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments that they have had it happen. During the winter, I guess you could get it if you rubbed your feet across the floor with some socks on. Let's see, is that all the screws or am I missing one? Feels like I'm missing one. No, I think it's just our audio ICs. Glue, there we go. Glued itself on there from time. Yeah, so here we go. So we're going to be changing that IC right there, or not IC, but volt regulator. Everything else on this board looks okay. Got some bugs and stuff up on it. Alright, I don't think I'm going to be able to show y'all the solder work on this because I don't do much SMD work, so when I do, I take my time with it. And I don't want a 40-minute long video or something crazy like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting my iron out and get it warmed up, and then we'll hopefully be back with a working television. Alright, there it is. Right there. Not my greatest soldering work ever, but hopefully it will continue to work. Hopefully it fixes it. Had to check and make sure I didn't have any bridges back there between the 3 pins. I did have to remove the capacitor here. It's the only way I could get my big fat iron up in there to get everything loose. Got lucky, didn't manage to tear any traces or anything off the board. Hopefully I got enough solder up under the tab there, since it is a heatsink. But let's put the board back in and see if the TV will power up correctly. I hope it does. Alright, we got the board back in. Everything's connected. Power's in. Set the power switch. Where's it at? Right there. Click. Hey, we have backlights now. Yep, we got backlights. I bet if I flip it over, we'll even have a blue screen. So, previously we only had, what, about 11.9 volts coming off the fuse. We now have 12.16 coming into the fuse. Coming out of the fuse, 12.14, going into our volt regulator. Good voltage. Coming out of our volt regulator. Got our 5 volts. So let's check our U7 here that we changed. We should have 3.3 coming in out of U33. Yep. Our adjustment voltage is 0.27, and the most important thing is our, oh, I'm getting this in frame for y'all, but we'll check our tab. Hey look, we got 1.2 volts now instead of 0.97 volts. So there you go. U7 was bad. That little tiny volt regulator. That little piece of, let's see, where is it? I can't even see it. I'm too happy now. That little tiny piece of shit caused this whole big old 42-inch TV to go through hell being tossed around to who knows who until I was the one to finally find it. By the way, I paid $10 for this television. So that little piece of shit probably cost Vizio 2 cents or something in production. Cost me 76 cents. So now that we got everything going again, let's throw the cover on it and flip it over and see if the screen's in good shape and whether the inputs work. Alright, I got it back together. Got it plugged in, sitting here. Looks like my camera's going to be a pain in the ass and not want to focus. Some reason this camera does not like shooting on to matte LCD panels. I do not know why. So anyway, power on. Backlights. And there we go. $10 television back to life. Originally, I think the dude wanted something like 30 for it. I just let it sit there for like 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't even plan on buying it at all until the HDMI port and the other set blew up. Then I was looking for a board, and then this board ended up being bad. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for showing any of this, so I'm not staying on the channels very long. I think these channels aren't going to come in, they're pretty far away. Yeah, it's working good right now. Every now and then they'll break up. It's just a copy of channels I have locally. Need to find like an infomercial or something. Me TV. Night Court, good show. Although the ending was stupid. Alright, so I need to clean the screen. The screen's pretty gnarled up from dog piss, cat piss, and whatever else is all over it. And I'm fighting with the cable box. The cable box doesn't want to give me a signal. And if I connect analog output to the TV, it tells me that the HDCP is not working, the high bandwidth copy protection crap. So I'm going to have to fight with the box. I hate that crap. Who cares what they copy? I mean, damn. Just Hollywood needs to get over themselves. Alright, well there you go. $10 TV safe in the landfill. With a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of research, a good voltmeter, and some soldering work. Although it wasn't that great soldering work this time around, but I got the job done. Had a good working TV again. Hopefully the lightning doesn't take this one out. Alright, hope I can help y'all, or help y'all with one of your sets. This is a problem with the VX and the VW series Vizios, the older ones from 06, 07, 08, maybe even 09. So if you have one that powers on but won't do anything after that, you get the white Vizio light that just sits there. Take it apart, get your voltmeter out, and start probing the volt regulators, and you'll most likely have that problem. If you don't have capacitor problems, it's probably going to be volt regulator problems. Planned obsolescence. Alright, we'll catch you guys in the next video.